Hey everybody, this is Josh and Gary from Agora, and we thought that we'd spend some time this afternoon just having a conversation to kick off a number of discussions over the next couple of weeks that we're hoping could add value, specifically if you are in the business place, in the marketplace, and you are of the mind of you're already thinking kind of on the other side of this. Maybe you're I mean, most of us are certainly feeling it right now, just, the turmoil and the unknowns and things like that. But you know that there's going to be a tomorrow, and you want to prepare for that. And so, the next couple of videos, Gary and I and some others are going to have some conversations about some dynamics, some tools that have been helpful in prior challenges. And, we know that this is hard to compare to anything. None of us have been through a global pandemic or seen economic pullbacks as fast, but that can mean that there can be rebounds even faster. But there's also things that are unknown, and so we're just trying to stay rooted in things that are known and find ways forward. So with that,
I think our intention, Josh, here is just to help people sort of look at and think about their business and how to not just protect themselves and how to survive during this particular period of time, but actually position themselves to come out of this really successfully. So what does that look like? What can they prepare for? What can they think about?
Yeah, and I mean, between the two of us, I'm just the young pup. So I'm going to lean on your perspective, because I know you've been through a number of these. There have been a number of economic challenges that companies have faced, whether they were financially induced or even of their own, something that happens to the company in a regulatory sense that changes the dynamic overnight, and now you got to do something different. And
right. Well, in spite of major world events like this, like world wars or the Spanish flu and that kind of stuff, and this is the, preeminent event of my life. I mean, we've never had anything like this in my lifetime. But there are black swans, these sudden economic collapses that happen even in good economic times, but a company for some odd reason loses its CEO, or a major customer goes bankrupt, or something happens when all of a sudden it's like, whoa, we need to do something. So it's really the same thought process and thinking through that as it might be for this coronavirus as well. So I would like to sort of talk for just 1 second and introduce the thought about surviving with purpose. Again, it's not just a question of surviving now, but getting through this and being positioned to take advantage and be successful once we come out of this. So 2-3 months from now, whatever that looks like, that's really, really important, because it's the successful companies that are winners, right? It's the ones that position themselves and think and plan and look at what they're trying to do and analyze and ask themselves the questions, ask those questions amongst their team members to be able to position themselves for success.
And then when you're talking about surviving with purpose, it's not just like it's thinking of this time and we're getting through it, but we're doing things intentionally to prepare for the other side.
Right, exactly. So critical factors would be, number one is just, you're not just surviving, you're surviving to get someplace. And you're not even really surviving, you're still working on your business and in your business and doing things to position yourself, even if you're shut down, or if you're not working as with capacity like you were before, but being able to prepare for that ramp and thinking through, what's needed to be able to get there. So that's why I just call it surviving with purpose, because the purpose is to be able to get out from underneath this thing and be able to take advantage of it, even in some cases, and grow a business and be stronger because of it. So the first thing I think that people need to think through is to think about, what does my business need to look like in 2 to 3 months from now, when we're really coming out of this thing? What do I need to look like? Not necessarily to say to get back to where I was, because we've heard a lot of conversation lately about, this is not going to be business as usual. Life is going to be different. Businesses are going to be different. So what does it look like for me to be able to position my business for success? What do I need from my customers? What do I need from my employees? What do I need from my supply chain? What am I going to be able to deliver to my customers? What are they really going to need? Because those needs might look different when we get out there. So picturing that, and even kind of dreaming what that might look like, or we call it painting a picture of success in Agora. What does that look like? That's the first thing that needs to be done. It's just taking a look at that particular picture and putting, a skeleton together and the meat on the skeleton, et cetera, to think through what I need to look like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and so I think about that, with some of my ventures of, I'm not just trying to get, but like that, what you said about just getting back to where you are. I mean, I'm thinking of places of how can I gain market share? How can I use the time right now to position myself in ways that I just, when the hamster wheel was running, I didn't have time to really develop some things that I can do now while everyone's kind of shut down, that like leapfrogs me ahead in the future and positions me for more market share down the road, as people are kind of emerging from this disruption.
Right, exactly. And so thinking about pivoting, thinking about how I can add value to my business, what other kinds of things can I do? That's part of this video series that we kind of want to talk through, is how do you look at that? How do you assess what you have? How can you begin to look outside of your business and look at opportunities that are going to be out there? And the opportunities are significant. There's so much stuff going on right now that people can take advantage of and be able to grow their business with that. Right.
I mean, I know you've had experience in prior, either, widespread challenges or with a specific company, but what are some examples of companies that face a challenge like that, and what were some of those conversations like, and how did they maybe retool to come out on the other side? Or maybe even, somebody, you've got a couple of projects right now that, the specific dynamics of what we're facing is actually creating, all kinds of opportunities. One I know of, like I train for bike racing on this platform called Zwift, where everybody does this virtual riding. And, like, who wants to go like on a trainer all the time when you can ride outside? Well, guess what? Right now, you can't go ride outside with your friends. And so on this virtual platform is a way that you can do that. Their subscription numbers are going through the roof, and it's a way to really capture market share for the other side when people are riding back outside and meeting up with friends, because they've had such a great experience in a time right now.
Yeah, I mean, let me mention one, because we'll get into some others of these in some future videos. But right now we've got folks that have a machine shop, and they primarily made parts for the aerospace industry. And as they're out working in that particular space right now, aerospace, Boeing's not selling a lot of airplanes. Right. Airbus is really having orders canceled left and right. So the quantity and the ability to deliver into that marketplace is shifting. And so they've been looking for some other companies, and they found a company in the healthcare space that creates parts that they're able to machine and still be able to do. The volumes are a lot higher, which has its pros and cons, but they can shift their production facility to be able to manage those kind of parts and create those kind of parts and get into a different marketplace, still meeting their core business capability of machining parts, but doing it for a different space, because where's the opportunity right now? It's not in aerospace, but it certainly could be in healthcare, telecommunications. There's other spaces that are out there.
And how do you pivot? So like somebody pivoted from aerospace to medical, they just in their Rolodex, or they just having lots of conversations trying to find places they could use their capabilities?
I think three ways that certainly come to mind is, number one, talk to your customer base. Right, talk to them, find out what they're doing, what they're thinking, what are their needs, what are they looking at, and talk to them. The other thing is talk to your competitors, or look at your competitors. There's people that are out there, right, doing stuff in your particular space that are probably in other markets that you might be able to tag on or work with, or even work with them to be able to fill your particular needs. And then read the news. I mean, the news is full every day of all kinds of opportunities that people are talking about. The Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, there's a number of business stuff that's out there. The Northern Colorado, the BizWest report, right? There's those kinds of regional periodicals all over. I mean, reading those and seeing what companies are struggling and what companies are having success will give you lots and lots of ideas, certainly. So let's continue the dialogue. Let's continue the discussion. I'd like to talk a bit more about, protecting assets and what does that look like? How do we actually protect the assets do we have? Our customers, our employees, and our supply chain certainly are critically important. And then I want to talk a bit more specifically about some areas to think about in pivoting that are looking really, really hot right now. There's areas that are really blowing up. We have some clients that are, doing 30, 40, 50% more per plan than what they were thinking because their business is just growing because of this environment and what's happening. So let's consider that for a second video. And if anybody's curious and wants to enter into the dialogue with us and chat about some of this stuff, we've got on this, you'll see our access. You can get to our website and let us know, give us an email, give us a call, and we can chat more.
Okay, great.